Hi guys, so thank you for joining me. I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the manifestations of the abandonment wound, which is formed early in childhood, from the age of, hey, when you're born until you're about 8 years old. If you felt like you couldn't be yourself and still earn the affection of those around you, peers, family, I was going to say colleagues, community, this might be for you. So, one of the ways in which the abandonment wound shows up is in the runner chaser dynamic in romantic relationships. Now, it might also play a role in your work life where you perhaps tend to overachieve. Maybe you have no work-life balance. Maybe you're that person that's sitting there at like 7 in the morning and you don't have to be, or not sitting, standing, whatever it is you're doing. And you're the first one there and the last one to leave, right? And you don't necessarily get paid for it, right? Paid extra. You don't even get acknowledgement, perhaps. And even if you do get acknowledgement, ask yourself, is that why you're doing it? Or are you actually really doing work that needs to be done, right? And the other thing with this runner chaser, let's get back to that dynamic, that can be any type of karmic relationship, where you're trying, usually it's the chaser, right? The chaser is trying their best. They're over trying. Let's just say they're that person that wakes up and tries to, maybe, I'm trying to think of an example here, tidy up the entire house before their partner wakes up. And they do it every day. Or they're the one, actually, oftentimes they're also the one that stays awake, right? After their person goes to bed and they clean up, right? They tidy up for them. They prepare breakfast for them. They do little things for them. But do they do it because they're truly doing it out of unconditional love? Or are they doing it because they think that's how love is expressed? By overdoing it, right? By overextending themselves, by overgiving. So to all my people pleasers out there, to all my overgivers out there, to all my chasers out there, to those of you who are trying to heal from these things, I want you to look yourself in the mirror today and tell yourself that love doesn't get earned. Love is a freely given form of energy that exists in this world, and we can tap into it. I can tap into it. This is what you want to say. I can tap into the love that is around me at any given moment. Simply by existing, I have earned the love of whoever you believe in, whether it's God or Allah or your ancestors or your angels. Know that even if you can't say that, what you should say is, I am loved. I am loved by me. And I want you to keep saying that, because eventually those things will start to sink in and you will be walking around, right? Using the law of assumption, not just affirmations spoken without like any intention, right? But the law of assumption, which is you finally walking around with your head held high, right? And your shoulders back, standing up straight. When you walk into a room, you're going to be like, hey, I am loved. Because you know you're loved by you. And yes, I do believe that I am loved by God as well, and my ancestors and my angels. But you may not necessarily believe in the same things. At the very least, I want you to believe in yourself and learn that you are the first person, right? You're the first person that needs to accept you as you are. You have not abandoned yourself. All right, so now I want to get into one of the ways in which people who feel that abandonment wound and are chasers often act. And one of those is over-explaining. So say you have an argument with someone or conflict. I would say conflict. You want to make sure that everything's okay, right? You're just like, oh my God. Oh yeah, what do they think of me? So you're going to send that like post-midnight text that's like 10 pages long explaining your side of the story. That is one of the signs, okay? And that's very interesting. As I got to it, it said dealing with chronic guilt and shame shows up as constant sense of unworthiness, like carrying the weight of past mistakes that won't release. May manifest as self-judgment, over-apologizing, or struggling to forgive yourself, keeping you stuck in limiting self-compassion. That self-love that I'm talking about, that translates to self-compassion, self-forgiveness, right? Self-acceptance, self-love. It embodies all of that. And so, Spirit, I want to get to the heart of those who are watching this, what they struggle with, right? When it comes to over-explaining or feeling like they need to earn love. Too many cards there. All right, thank you. Wow, this is a heavy one, guys. Not that they're all not, but they all are. But they are all wounds that can be overcome, right? First is acceptance. Issues coming from cognitive dissonance. All right, so I'll read this and then we're going to go to the book. This is the Sacred Woundings deck and the book, Sacred Shadows. Will show up as internal conflict or confusion, struggling to reconcile conflicting beliefs or behaviors, often resulting from being taught contradictory messages growing up, leaving you unsure of your values and beliefs. And oftentimes that is spoken out loud by other tarot readers and myself as a dissonance between your heart and your soul, right? It's really like your mind. Your mind is doing all of this. It doesn't know which way to go, right? And so you've been taught how to abandon yourself, right? In order to keep yourself safe, in order to make sure that you're accepted. Perhaps, as I said in my short, you were bullied as a child, and so you've now learned how to behave in certain ways to fit in with this group, group A, group B, group C, person A, person B, person C. And so, of course, there's cognitive dissonance because you're like, wait, who am I? Right? So, okay. I'm going to get into this in the book and just read you some of the journal prompts after I read this first paragraph to you, okay? Ooh, I love it. There's an Albert Einstein quote here. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them, right? Cognitive dissonance is the tension between what you believe and what you experience. The moment when reality no longer aligns with the stories you've been telling yourself. It is the discomfort of realizing that something you've been once holding as true may not be true at all. And so the mind resists. It clings. It clings to old false narratives, by the way, justifies contradictions, and avoids the deeper reckoning. Because to admit the truth, to acknowledge the misalignment, means facing the unknown, letting go of certainty, and stepping into a space where you no longer have all the answers. And that's terrifying. And not only that, guys, but when you begin this process, really, a lot of people struggle with correlating, right, the past with the present. So what I want you to know is that feeling that you may get, right, when you realize that you've been looping, right, in cognitive dissonance, what I want you to realize is that you don't need to heal the past. You just need to accept that, oh, okay, so those past behaviors were merely projections so that I could survive. And that's okay. I forgive myself for that. I forgive myself for not being true to who I was. You're a kid. How could you know? How could you know? I'll tell you my quick example, kind of so that you have something tangible here to relate it to. In my late 20s, right, I was approached by a friend from school, right, from like kindergarten on, who I hadn't seen in like 10 years. And she said to me something along the lines of, yeah, how are you now? Like, how did you get over all of that mistreatment that you received as a child, right? And you know what I said? I said, oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm fine. I kid you not, like, I believed it. I was like, what? I mean, yeah, it was a little bit, like, oh, I was just bullied a little bit. I didn't accept that my brain had so deeply protected me that I literally created a whole, like, oh no, it wasn't so bad, false narrative around the experience. But my body knew, right? My soul knew for sure. My mind was protecting me. So there was a dissonance. My behaviors as a young adult were in large part a result of that dissonance, right? So I accepted treatment, mistreatment for a very long time across multiple experiences in my life. Multiple, like, areas, containers. I didn't realize, like, because I had never really bothered to delve into that part of my past. I had never thought about the little girl that ran out of multiple classrooms, I don't know, from the age of 5 until the age of 12, because she was taunted for having dark skin, for being unlike everyone else. I know now it's like so weird saying this in 2026, right? But like, yeah, that was enough. That was enough for where I grew up from. I was born in New York City, and then I moved to a suburb in New Jersey that was nothing like it. And my parents thought they were giving me a better life. I've forgiven them for that. But yeah. You don't know necessarily that your mind has really protected you until maybe Never. Maybe you face up to it. Maybe you don't. A lot of people don't. Most people don't, right? But if you're watching this and you still care, then you're not one of those people. You're like, oh no, I actually want to like know why I behave in this way. Why do I try to fit in so hard? Why do I try so hard to win someone's affections? Why do I chase? Why do I over-explain? Why do I people please? Why do I give so much and expect nothing in return? Because guess what? That's a pattern that you started way back when to protect yourself. But you are now an adult. And now you can take charge of your life and live it according to who you really are and what you really deserve. And what you do deserve, at the very least, is self-love, not abandoning yourself. Truly accepting who you are. And once you do that, then you will only accept relationships, whether it's work or personal, that really resonate with you. You will no longer settle for less. All right, so with that, I'm going to read you some journal prompts that I hope that you reflect upon. At least that's the plan. So try to write these down, or at least remember those which stand out to you. What is a belief that holds what is a belief that I hold that contradicts my actions or choices? When have I justified something I knew deep down was not right for me? That's a big one, guys. How do I react when I receive information that challenges my perspective? Yeah, when you get triggered, right? When those wounds get triggered, usually, like if I say something here and you're like, fuck you, that's a trigger. So I just want you to know, like, there's nothing personal, directed at you. If something is taken personally by you in my 20-minute spiel here, it's most likely something you should address. All right. Okay. Do I feel resistance when changing my mind? What fears arise? In what areas of my life do I feel stuck between two conflicting truths? How have my past beliefs evolved over time, and what caused those shifts? Am I holding on to certain ideas out of fear, comfort, or societal expectations? What emotions surface when I realize I may have been wrong about something important? How can I create space to hold opposing truths without shame or avoidance? If I gave myself full permission to change my mind, what would I let go of, right? So perhaps you need to let go of, like I did, this notion that everything was fine. I didn't go through anything traumatic. Do you need to let go of that? I don't know. Maybe you have replayed patterns across a multitude of relationships and you know they're not good for you, but you keep doing it. Why is that? The first step is really seeing the pattern, right? Tarot is often about patterns, right? Pattern recognition. People in interpersonal relationships play out certain patterns. They exhibit archetypes. They go through like life journeys, life paths. That's why like collective readings resonate with so many people, and you're like, well, how? Because we're all human. We all tend to fall into different archetypical roles, and then we take different paths, right? But oftentimes it's similar, right? It's not all the same, but it's similar. There's a lot of chasers out there. There's a lot of runners out there. There's a lot of fearful avoidance out there. This is hopefully something that you guys find helpful. Let me know in the comments, please. I just want to share one more thing with you. Like, if you guys were to start addressing your cognitive dissonance wounds, what would come out of this? I love this. You would see, wow, Spirit is trying to help you. All right, Spirit is trying to help you move on from unhealthy habits. Spirit is trying to show you where you too have been two-faced. It doesn't have to be, it's not a bad thing, okay? We wear masks to protect ourselves. So you perhaps have learned how to shield yourself, right, from outside forces by being a little bit unreal. Now, what's coming for you? Spirit is going to help you. They will send you signs, okay? This is what's coming for you. Good news. So I don't know what form this will take, but at the very least, I want you to know that new opportunities await you. Sorry, I'm trying to like word this as properly as I can. I want you to look at the words here. Sorry. So you see how safety is in one direction, right? And opportunities and risk are in the other. And this bird, oh shit, the bird is flying. Which way is the bird flying? Towards the opportunity and risk. Yeah, risk is inherent, right? When we're trying to unmask ourselves. All right, but good news is in that direction. Opportunities for growth are in that direction. Something new is in that direction. And that's what we want, right? To expand outside of these patterns that we've been living so that you no longer feel like you're misunderstood. You no longer feel like you have to explain yourself. Oh, no. What I meant was, what's that about? You've been second. Why are you second guessing yourself? Sorry, that's my Aries voice coming out. When you're finally comfortable sharing who you really are with the people around you, you will ultimately feel free. And that's the goal. Closer to divinity, closer to your higher self, closer to maybe divine union, closer to inner union, closer to God. I don't know. It's like you'll feel so much better. So I hope this helped someone out there. Please let me know. I'm going to start doing more of these, and I appreciate you.